Hello my stamping friends, Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. So I have my first fun fold for the month of May to share with you today. This one I've dubbed the diagonal card fold, card on card. Now why do I say card on card? Because it's kind of like a double card. So we've got this inner piece that overlaps the shell of the card base. So the card base has this fun diagonal cut front, and then we insert a smaller card in the middle that overlaps. So it's kind of like two cards in one. So card on card. So I'm going to take you through cutting all the materials, doing the diagonal cuts, and then I'm going to put one together for you using the Hello Irresistible Designer Series paper and the Irresistible Blooms stamp set, which are both in the online exclusive products. So they're not in your catalogs. So you want to take a peek over on the online store and see not only those two products, but all the other fun stuff that is limited in how long they'll be available, but kind of fun to get, you know, something that's short term. So let's go ahead and get started. So I have my template instructions in front of me. I also have my template, which I found really useful when I was cutting these to make my templates to send out to those of you who subscribe to receive them. So I'm going to take you through how I do it. Alright, so I have my paper trimmer, and I am using Pretty Peacock, which is a returning color to our collection. And the first thing I'm going to do is cut the card base. So my card base is 8.5 by 5.5, so that's a typical card base. So I'm just going to cut my sheet in half. So 5.5, and give it a cut. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and score it like usual at 4 1/4. So far there's nothing different. 4 1/4. Okay, now we're going to cut the diagonal off. This is the tricky part, but it's doable, especially if you have the template in front of you. So I know, alright, here's my card. Here's the one I just cut. Okay, I'm even going to go ahead and give it a crease there, because there's my center. Okay, there's my center. Now, I want to cut off the diagonal. So do you see what I'm going to do? I'm going to go from the score line to that edge. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take my card. I'm actually going to crease that with my bone folder real quick. I want to make sure it's exactly folded in half. Just give that a crease with my bone folder. Okay. This is going to be my front, and that's the one I want to cut off. Okay, that's the one I want to cut off. So I have my open template to help guide me. So I'm cutting off this section. I'm going to put it in my paper trimmer. Right here is my cut line where that groove is. I need to line up my crease, right, my corner crease there, and I need to line up the tip of my card down here. So take a little time, get it just the way you want it, crease and the tip, then put down your guard and go ahead and trim off that triangle. Okay, so this is why the template is really useful, because I just put it down like the way I need to position it so I can make sure I'm matching my template. Okay, so if you're spatially challenged like a lot of us are, use the template to help you guide your cutting. Okay, so there's that piece. Great. Now let's do the inside one just while we've still got the cardstock here. This one actually is pretty simple. The back of your card tells you center card is 8.5 by 3. So I just need to cut this down to 3. And then I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. So right in half. 4 1/4. Okay, so there's my center piece. Okay, they're just going to go together just like that. Alright, now we have to do our Designer Series paper. Alright, so I picked this pattern as my background diagonals. Okay, it's going to go here and it's going to go there. So I'm going to start with DSP. I'm going to start with 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so even though I've made dozens of these as templates and kits for you guys, I still go back to looking at my template measures to make sure I do it right. Alright, so I'm going to go 4 by 5 1/4. So taking my 6 by 6 piece and trimming it down. 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. Now I have to cut this at diagonal, and I have a little thing here. It says diagonal cut from one corner to the other. That makes sense, right? One corner to the other. Right hand tip. What do I mean by right hand tip? All right, so if I go back and look here, okay, this is how I want my paper to be. I want to see this side. So I need to cut it from here to here. So what I mean by right hand tip is tip it this way. My right hand, I go from here and I tip it out. So I want to go from this corner to this corner. If you end up doing it the other way, and I admit I did it the other way on a couple of them, and then I had to go back and cut new pieces, you'll have to flip it over and use the other side of the paper. So it's not always terrible, but sometimes it's just not the pattern you want. So be careful, and when you see right hand tip, go, what does she mean? And then, you know, look at the video or say, oh, right hand, tip it to the side. All right, so here are my two pieces that are going to go on the front and the back inside my card. And then this one, I've picked a different piece of 6x6 from the Hello Irresistible. I like these. They're not embossed, right? But they kind of stand out because they're white. So I'm doing this one. This one says 2 7/8. 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. So this is just trimmed down a little bit inside what will be the base of that inside card. 4 1/8. 4 1/8. Wow. Alright, that's 4 1/4. That's 4 1/8. Okay. Must be too early in the morning for me. Alright, now I want to do the same thing on the inside. So I can do 4 1/8 first, and then do my 2 7/8. And you see I just flipped it over to use that on the inside. So 2 7/8. Okay. There are all my pieces. Okay. So let's go ahead and bring my kit back in and get building of our card. Alright, so I'm going to put these triangle pieces on first. So I just have my green glue, and you're going to see they fit right inside that piece there. Okay? So just to add a little bit of adhesive, and then position it inside the framing of that card. Okay, and then open it up and do the same thing here. It really doesn't take a lot of green glue to get it to stick, but it is nice that it'll let you reposition it if you do it quickly before it sets. Alright. Okay, so there's that. Then I've got this one. Increase this with my bone folder, make sure it's crisp and closed. This one's going on here. Okay. See how that just frames in there on that pretty peacock? Makes those colors really pop. And on the inside. Now, if you were using a base card that was white or vanilla or a light color, you wouldn't necessarily have to line it. Or you could line it with just white or vanilla cardstock, but I chose to use the DSP to line it because it was a nice muted pattern, and then all the colors coordinate. So, it's your card, make it your way, but that's the way I did it today. Okay, then this one, just put some adhesive on the back of that, and then you're going to center this on the inside panel. Okay, just center it. Give that a good press. Then you flip this up, close that, bring it down, and you made your front fold. There you go, guys. Isn't that easy? So, yes, okay, easy. Diagonal cuts aren't easy, but they're doable, right? Just use your template and take your time, and don't panic. All right, the key is not to panic. All right, so now I've got my coordinating Pretty Peacock ink, and I have my Irresistible Blooms stamp set, right? So this coordinates with the paper. And I'm just using a sentiment today. I'm just using the thank you sentiment. But I did pre-die cut from my Something Fancy dies this label. So I'm just going to stamp my thank you sentiment on my label. It's really juicy. Hopefully I do this well. Alright. new pads are very juicy. Be careful when you get them. Don't over stamp, or maybe stamp and then stamp off if you don't want too much ink. And then I'm just going to put that on the front. I wish I had a couple of gems on the table, but they're not within reach, so I'm going to have to just not put the gems on. But finish it off, I might add a couple of gems, or I might even stamp a flower from here and trim it out and then add it as an extra embellishment. But for now, for this purpose, I'm just going to add the label, and then you can just put your note on the inside and you are good to go. So there we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed the first fun fold for May. I did. And I'll be back with a second fun fold shortly. So if you're here on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You just have to do the button down below my screen here, and you'll be notified when I share another video. And if you want to hop over to my blog post and find out about how you can sign up to receive the templates and a practice kit from me, links are below. Or you can just email me, Susan@pumpkinhillstampers.com, and I'm happy to share the information with you. Alright, so have fun. Do some fun stamping. I know we're all excited with the new catalog in May, so you probably have something new to play with. So make a fun fold with something new. Have a good time. Alright, fun stamping, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.